All right, we're back. So the question we left off with was, um, well, the question we're asking now is if capitalism is anti-democratic, how and in what way has uh, capitalism reproduced the hierarchies, the class structuration, the class distinctions that were there in the monarchy uh, after the revolutions. Uh, right? Capitalism is supposed to give everyone an opportunity to succeed. Let's think about America, right? The land of opportunity. So the first way that these the bourgeois are able to uh, immediately seize uh, the role of that was previously held by the aristocracy, uh, is because of their pre-existing money, obviously. Right? So, first question is, how do they seize that uh, power? The second question then is, how do they maintain that power? And the real question is about how they maintain that power. How does this merchant class in this liberal democracy, this capitalist democracy, uh, how do those who go into that system with some power consolidate that power and maintain that power indefinitely? That's the question. How is it that, in fact, there can be so little class mobility in a capitalist democracy? Right? And as we said, you have to have money to make money, to spend money to make money. Opportunity requires money. Those already with money, therefore, thus have much more opportunity. Wealth inequality reproduces itself. If you are a wealthy merchant uh, going into this new post-revolutionary state, you're going to have a much easier time succeeding through capitalism than a peasant with no money. Right? The same is true today, right? Someone from a wealthy family with a lot of money to burn, a lot of expendable or inherited money, can start 10 businesses that all fail without going into debt and still be well off because their investment portfolio makes more a year in just interest than your average worker makes in their salary. So someone who is born wealthy is going to have many, many opportunities to make more money through capitalism, whereas someone who has to take out a loan to start a business is taking on significantly greater risk. If that business goes well, then they're going to be hampered by paying that loan back. That is to say, they're going to see less profit less quickly because they have to take out a loan because they start with less. If the business fails, then they're in even more trouble. Right? There, you have to pay back the loan. They're in debt. So this capitalist system for some is an infinite array of opportunities to make more and more money, and for some It offers a risky gamble that can result in either profit or uh, debt and even further poverty. Right? Winners and losers, but uh, to be cliche, the game is rigged from the beginning. So the question of how the wealthy merchants take power so quickly in a capitalist democracy is relatively easily answered and analyzed. The question of how that power is consolidated and maintained is more difficult, and this is really what Marx is interested in critiquing, is the way that capitalism creates kind of permanent uh, class division between, as he says, the bourgeois and the proletariat, the owner class and the working class. For the most part, the structure of capitalism ensures that the owner class will hold on to power and will keep the working class oppressed and stymie their efforts at class mobility. Right? The dream of capitalism is class mobility, to move from lower to middle to upper class. It's in the United States our fondest and most cherished belief. Right? We can all become billionaires if we work hard enough. So why is this, what's happening with this story, right? Let's go back to Marx's time and imagine a simple analogy, simple allegory, right? Overly simple. Let's say I own a factory, right? I'm part of this bourgeoisie that owns a factory, right? And this factory that I own, you are all my employees, right? You work for me. It's 1865. That's 1870, whatever. It's 1840. I own the factory. You are my employees. We make gloves, right? We produce gloves. And I pay you $10 an hour. And in an hour, you can make 5 pairs of gloves. I pay you $10 an hour, and every hour you make 5 pairs of gloves. I sell each pair of gloves for $20. So, every hour, you produce $50 of value, of exchange value, what I can sell the gloves for. But your labor value, what I actually pay you, is only $10. So I am making $40 off of your labor for doing nothing. Sure, there are expenses to running the factory. I have to pay taxes. I have to pay bills. I have, other operating costs. But let's say, those run another $20 per hour, which seems high, right? I'm still making $20 or twice what you make off of your labor for doing absolutely nothing but owning the factory. So what that means is that me, the factory owner, I'm making money without doing labor, simply by owning a factory. A factory that I likely own because of my historical wealth, possibly accrued through violence, theft, or oppression, if we think of Nietzsche or Rousseau or Marx. Right? And to this point, it's important to remember that as the industrial era is taking off, around the same time as these democratic revolutions and the rise of modern capitalism, we're also reaching the peak of colonialism, where that same merchant class is plundering areas around the world for resources, right? For gold, for anything of value. So a lot of the money that is being used to start factories, a lot of the capital that's being invested by this owner class has been gotten through colonialism, through exploitation of people, through theft of resources in the Americas, right, in India, in Africa, uh, in Asia, and elsewhere. Now, because capital reproduces itself, because money makes money, it's in my interest in capitalism to keep wages as low as possible in order to increase profits for myself. Right? The less you make an hour for the same amount of labor, the more I make. Right? If I can pay you $5 to make the same number of gloves in an hour, I just add that extra $5 to my profit. Now, capital reproduces itself. I can take that capital, take that money, and invest it in other things. And in investing it in other things, I will then see profits from those investments. So as I keep wages low, I increase my profits. Those profits multiply. I become richer and richer. On the other side of that equation, however, the lower the wages, the harder it will be for a worker to save enough capital to ever escape the working class. Right? The worker still has to feed themselves and their family. They also have to pay rent. They have to pay taxes and bills also. Right? That's coming out of their paycheck. And so, right, in order to get the capital to start business, in order to find that expendable money to invest, to have money that can make money, you have to be incredibly resourceful. There's so many good words for this that I'm forgetting any of them. Parsimonious, right? Not spend a lot of money. And the possibility of saving enough money to invest is incredibly difficult. Escaping the working classes is incredibly difficult. And this is also a reason for the owning class, the owner class, the bourgeois, to keep wages low. Why? Because if the game is rigged in your favor, then you don't want to allow, right, or if it's a competition, right, then you want as few competitors as possible. So the more people that are working for you,